Hello students, welcome to Science and Tech series with Dr. Vivek Rana. Hope all of you are doing well and your GS preparation is on right track. Topic for today's discussion is from defense section. We have seen that in last 2 or 3 weeks space segment and biotech were dominating, but this week the major headlines which were grabbed were from defense section. There's an important milestone which we will be covering in this specific lecture. So we see that at any navy, when it's got at global level, it is mainly counted on, you could say, 3 parameters if we look into the modern warfare aspect. Generally, any navy which has a nuclear powered attack submarine, an aircraft carrier and warships, these are the 3 basic things which generally make headlines in global affairs. So the today's topic which will be covering INS Imphal falls in that parameter. So make sure you update your class notes and add this specific example in the Indian Navy section. So INS we all know stands for Indian Naval Ships, and this word Imphal carries a symbolic meaning which we'll be covering in the nomenclature part. So in this all such current affairs, in case you are just preparing your current affairs late or just have started your current affairs preparation and this is the initial lectures you are following, then make sure in any defense current affair you follow this basic protocol of mentioning that which is the particular port which is involved in construction, what is the story behind the specific name, whether it is part of some specific project, or what are the key features which make it unique or stand out in the hierarchy. So if you have covered at least 4 or 5 themes which were in news, more or less a factual question which appears in form of statements is manageable. So coming to the first constructed part, this should not come as a surprise. We had covered the Scorpion deal in which we have seen that India French were collaborating and they constructed 6 submarines. And all 6 were constructed at Mazagaon Dock Limited, which happens to be in Mumbai. So basically the main port which has been active in last, you could say 2-3 years, which is making quite regular headlines in defense current affair. So this should not come as a surprise. Just as we say in space, the Sriharikota high altitude is in range. In naval part of late, Mazagaon Dock has been quite active. It was involved in that specific project, and also the broader projects 15A and B, which were in news. They all have been constructed at Mumbai port. Now coming to the nomenclature part, the name is quite different from the earlier protocol because this series of project 15 and A and B are mainly revolving around the ports. But for a deviation, this INS Imphal is named after capital of Manipur. We all know that Manipur is on boil, the Metis-Kuki conflict is not settling down, but this ship was announced long before that conflict actually broke out. It was in 2019. So it has in no way symbolic reference to the current ongoing conflict or anything related to the specific capital. It is a tribute to the Battle of Imphal. So make sure you just brush your current affairs about this historical battle which was fought way back in 1944. So in modern history, when we see the formation of Azad Hind Fauj and we see that World War outbreaking in 1939 and eventually it concluded in 1945, there is a significant chapter in which we see the Northeast India to be specific, being involved in that battle between the Allied forces and the Axis forces. So the story goes like this, that Japan was upbeat and it was almost conquering one territory after another, and the Allied forces were suffering reverses. But it was this very battle in 1944 where British forces, which were mainly the Indian forces, held their ground and they made them Japanese retreat back to Burma. So Battle of Kohima and Battle of Imphal are the 2 main battles where the British forces dominated the Japanese forces. So in 2013, this battle was mentioned in their, you could say, a ceremonial setup as well, and they have highlighted this is one of the most decisive battles fought by British during the World War. So make sure you are clear about this battle, and no harm in going through some basic facts about this, because this name has symbolic reference. Now coming to the project part, the current INS Imphal has been constructed under Project 15B. The B they have in symbolic sense highlighted as Bravo, but you need to understand whenever such projects are there, there is a fleet of, you could say, ships which are made active during such projects, and in the current 15B series there are 4 such INS ships, in which the main ship we all know was in news, we had covered I think in previous lecture as well. It was INS Vishakhapatnam, there is INS Imphal, INS Mormugao. Mormugao is the port after we covered when we studied the Goa Shipyard Building Limited, and there is also the INS Surat as well. So out of these, the first 3 have already made headlines, they have been constructed, and now these are being inducted of late. And you also need to cover, apart from Project 15A, Project 15B is A, in which there are once again 3 ships: INS Kolkata, INS Kochi, and INS Chennai. So in all 3 Indian naval ships under Project 15A, all 3 have been constructed at Mazgaon Dock Limited. These are the biggest warships ever built in India, roughly weighing 6,000 tons plus, and they are capable of advanced combat as well. So after this Project 15A, the Project 15B got ignited, and it is now expansion of this project. These are all, you could say, the major warships or destroyers, what we call in Indian Navy parlance, to safeguard our territorial waters, because India has a vast coastline. We all know it roughly extends to 7,516 meters and kilometers, and we know there are strategic ports right from the west to east coasts, namely Kandla, you could say Mumbai, Goa, there is Mangalore, Kochi port, then we have Tuticorin, Chennai, Ennore, Vishakhapatnam, Paradweep, Kolkata, Haldia, the list goes on and on. So make sure a brief overview of such ports is also covered, so that it is easy to associate the names involved, because in 15A all 3 follow the basic pattern of the nomenclature of naming after port. In 15B also, if we carefully look, these are more or less coastal cities, only Surat is there, here is Vishakhapatnam, but this Imphal is something different, so it is a tribute to the pattern. If we come to the final part, which is the specific features which makes it stand out, now it has a, you could say, speed of 30 knots, it has endurance of almost 3,000 nautical miles, but what exactly you have to memorize is the main arsenal which it is carrying. So 2 specific missiles once again have been highlighted clearly. It is that this warship will carry BrahMos cruise missile, which happens to be India's fastest supersonic cruise missile under operation, and also Barak 8. So BrahMos, we all know, is a joint Indo-Russian project named after Brahmaputra river and Moskova river, having range varying from 290 to 450 kilometers and having speed of Mach 2.8. Whereas Barak 8 purpose is slightly different. It is a surface to air missile. Once again, it is a joint venture between India and Israel. So basically, make sure the basic facts about Barak 8 and BrahMos missile are covered or revised for namesake purpose. We have already covered them in your class lecture, so make sure you just brush upon the fact. We all know the range of Barak 8 is 80 kilometers as well. So already in PCS, if you look back at the papers, the question on Barak 8 has appeared. In lot of state services, BrahMos missiles have already been asked, and also in recent exam there was one question that in which country we have exported BrahMos missile. So it is Philippines. So these missiles keep on repeating in the current affairs, so make sure you are clear about such fact. In UPSC also this year there was a question on Agni and BrahMos. So this is a quite relevant theme when we look at the missile aspect. Yeah, so this is what you had to cover in this basic current affair of INS Imphal. Some more specific facts related to this interesting journey of INS Imphal have already been uploaded on, you could say, CCS Academy Telegram channel as well. So you can make use of that. If you have any specific query which you feel has not been addressed, feel free to ask them in comment section. We will revert. So thank you very much. Keep following Science and Tech series for more such regular updates on defense, space, nuclear, biotech. Have a nice day.